All right. Hi, guys. Welcome back to another recap episode. Sorry if I sound a little bit echoey. I'm sitting in a different spot of my room, but I don't really want to move. But anyway, I'm Sabrina. And then if everyone wants to introduce themselves really quick.
I'll let our guest go first this time.
Well, hey, I'm Molly LaPesca. I played on seasons 1 and 3.
Hi, my name's Josh, and I will be in a future Survivor Syracuse season.
And I'm Mike, and I'm always here.
Slay. All right, let's get into it. So let's review a little bit from the final 8 vote where Hannah went home. So, how did this week's vote split set us up for this week? It was a 4-2-2. So 4 Hannah, 2 Jack, and 2 Jake.
It's really leaving 4 people really good, and the other 3 who are left, like they're struggling. I think Kat, like right after we saw early in the episode, she was clearly not happy. She's like, I feel so stupid. Mitch was stuck targeting Jack, who has been vengeful in the past, getting people out. So it's like they're really not looking too pretty. And I guess we see Cat goes home. Like it really I think it did cause a lot and start a lot of what went into this week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I completely agree. I guess one thing is like moving into like the final 7. I feel like earlier in the season in pre-merge, if you're on the wrong side of the votes, that's very scary. But I think especially with some people emerging as bigger threats and having targets on their back, especially after the superlatives challenge that they had, I think that there was more wiggle room for people that were on the outside of the votes. It was just a matter of like what your threat level was or what the perception of you was currently.
Word. Yeah, so we see it go that way. Kat definitely not happy. Gabby and Abby get a little bit of heat for not playing their own game at this point because we see that there's an opportunity where they can flip and maybe try to get Jake or Jack out with these votes going on Jake and Jack. Neither of them are safe this week. I mean, we see Jake has his idols, all that, but they don't have immunity. So I don't know. What do you guys think this would have been a good opportunity for them to be able to do something like that?
Yes, but I don't think they deserve the heat they got because they're playing the numbers game. They have their Wentworth 4, and they're playing that numbers game. I do think this was a very good week to take out someone much bigger. And seeing what happens later in the episode, how Jake wins immunity, I like now it's very hard to get Jake out. I think last week was a perfect time to get Jake out or Jack. It really would have it would have put the remaining shields what's the word, targets, I can't think of the word right now off the top of my head. It puts like the big targets, it just weakens them one more, and then like they're really in the spotlight at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's hard for me. I'm always rooting for Jake. I like to see Jake do well. And I think Abby catches a little bit too much flack for being like a coattail rider, when in reality, I don't know, she plays a really good under the radar game. She makes it far. Like, hard to really give her too much flack for that.
Yeah, I think Abby, I don't know. Maybe I'm having a contrarian opinion to like the fans out there, but I think Abby played a really good under the radar game this episode. She's
Yeah.
aware of Jake's idol, which is a very strong thing to know. No one's actively targeting her, and even though she's not perceived to be maybe the biggest threat to win at the moment, because Jake and Jack and Kat have such big threat levels because they're playing such good games, I think being that middle of the road right now is a really good place to be.
I'd agree.
Yeah.
And knowledge is power. And I thought it was really funny editing. Like, Abby knows where the idol is, and Gabby's over there with her. I don't remember what it's called, but she's like, Jack
Oh,
must have the idol.
The pendulum.
The pendulum.
Of course.
That was
How
great.
could we ever forget?
That idol, so many people think Jack have it. So many.
Yeah, I mean, he looked so much for it. I mean, I think it's only natural to think that there's a really good chance that he has it, considering all the hours. But yeah. And then last thing before we get just a fun little moment. Last thing before we get into the superlatives, we do get Mitch's little cooking show. So always a nice way to start off an episode, especially going into a Survivor Classic. So were you guys pleased with what you got?
I wasn't expecting it. I didn't actually think he was going to do it.
Mitch
That's
is
a
just
pretty
so
deluxe meal.
brutal. Like
Really
I've never
just
met
got
Mitch.
me hungry.
Mitch just is like seems like very cool, very likable, which maybe isn't a good thing in Survivor, but I just feel like I want to be his ally. I wouldn't vote him out.
Fair enough. Yeah, if I ever, man, I mean, Mitch is a senior right now, so I don't know. If I just wish I had the opportunity to get to play with Mitch, but
I
alas,
played a
his
season with him, and I didn't even get the opportunity to play with him. We were never on the same
that's so
side.
unfortunate. That's unfortunate.
And he got voted out right before merge. Spoilers if you didn't watch season 2. Sorry.
Yeah, y'all should be caught up. But yeah, so let's get into superlatives. So
If you didn't
they have a lot going on, lots of tea is spilled. We see questions like who doesn't deserve to be in the final, most deserving of final 7, most deserving to be in final 7, like stuff like that. Just like questions that will really blow up people's perceptions. So we see Mitch win the who doesn't deserve to be in the final 7. Do you guys have any opinions on that? Maybe because he just came back in the game, or I don't know, anything else?
I understand why they said that. If you're voted out and you come back, it's sort of like none of us were voted out. So I think it's almost a cop-out answer. But I do think his journey is a little bit more complicated because he's now having to navigate with that sort of weight on his back that he did get a second chance. So I think it's sort of 50-50.
I agree. Oh, my bad, Molly. You got it.
I'm gonna go. I would also agree with that. It's probably just more of the obvious answer than really a reflection on his gameplay. Like, if you're gonna say who is the least deserving to be here, it kind of just would hurt the least feelings to go with the person that's been voted out rather than stepping on someone's toes.
Yeah.
I agree with both of you, and this is what always, like, I never know how to read into a superlative challenge because people could just be picking the obvious answer. People could be throwing on who they think other people are voting in the original poll just to stack numbers there so they can then hold up their name and have more of a likely chance to get a point during the regular challenge. So I feel like, what do you guys think during a superlative challenge? Like, do you read into what everyone wins, or do you read into who gets more right, or what people write down and who they think the majority is? Like, it's always so confusing.
I feel like for the questions where like it wouldn't be such an obvious answer, you should read into maybe a little bit, like something that no one's ever really thought of. Because like if you get a question where it's like, oh, you feel like there's an obvious answer, or like, oh, this one side has a majority over the other, then like it probably doesn't mean that much. So I think you have to pick and choose, but also at the same time take it with a grain of salt. But also, I guess if you're like a target who's like being, or like a threat or something that's like being pinned a lot in these superlatives, maybe just like watch out a little bit.
You took the words right out of my mouth, and I wanted to use. Take a pinch of salt with it.
Here, I'll give you some of my words. There you go.
But yeah, I don't know. You can only read so much off of it from a base level. I would definitely say I've never participated in a superlatives challenge personally, but I feel like I would pay attention to like people's answers during the challenge and the answer overall rather than like other things.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually see Jack says he throws the challenge so he doesn't have to write some answers and piss people off. And like, how do you guys feel about that? Like him throwing a talent like that challenge just so he doesn't have to like ruin social relationships and he feels comfortable enough he can do that?
I feel like at this point in the game, you should really watch if you're throwing away immunity, especially when you're in
Do
a
we
spot.
think it's a cop out that he just did bad?
But it is an
Like,
interesting like challenge to throw, you know? Like he did have a reasoning behind it to like not piss people off. I can kind of see that.
Like, I don't know. I could see it. It's just like, I don't know. It just rubs me in a way where it's like, why risk that? I don't know. When there are 3 big threats to choose from, like if you are going to take out a big threat, why do that?
sure.
Yeah, it's a big risk, but if he thinks it'll
Okay.
pay off in a social game,
I mean, it seems like it for sure paid off for this vote anyway.
yeah.
So give it to him there.
I don't know. I think how much did he want Kat to go really though?
Didn't seem like
Because
that much.
It didn't really seem like he was against it that much, was he?
I think because Kat was more of a number for him than everyone else was. And I think we didn't see a lot of Jack this episode, and I think it's because he wasn't in control as much as Jake and Abby were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. A little power struggle there, I suppose. Yeah. Speaking of power struggle, I guess. Not so much a power struggle, like maybe a little. On the flip side, for most deserving of making it to Final 7, we had Jake, Kat, and Cam be tied there. I think that's kind of an interesting split of who they thought was most deserving, considering you have like 2 of those more like obvious threats, and then Cam who's playing more of an under the radar game. So, what do you guys think about that?
I think it's interesting. Maybe it was like comparison to like her past season and like how far she's come. I thought Cam and Gabby both got some superlatives that seemed to be almost a bit contradictory. It was like you don't really have a chance to win. You're the worst liar, but also you're the dark horse pick to win. And I think in Survivor that both things can be true at the same time. I think that I just remember when I was watching the episode for the first time, I was just thinking Jake, Jack, and Kat have such big targets. There's 7 people left. I mean, sticking together seems like a sketchy option because this is your biggest competition. But at the same time, I mean, if you really want to take them out and then hope the other 4 who know that you're the biggest threat are just going to like keep you around, that's also a risk. So it's like navigating what's the right thing to do. And Jake, of course, is chilling. He wins the challenge. He knows he has 2 idols, so he's guaranteed Final 4. But I think, as to your point earlier, Jack being so comfortable not winning this challenge or like saying he threw it is a bit interesting. But I think even though Cam and Gabby got a lot of heat, I do think the positive things that were said about them are still true. I think they do still have a chance. It's just a matter of like how they navigate the remainder of the game.
Fair. Yeah, it's all about perception, I think, in Survivor. Like, you have, like, people are going to look at you and how you're playing differently. So it's kind of like you just have to be able to keep tabs, like, who's thinking what.
3 P's of Survivor: power, position, and perception.
Whoa.
I really wanted pizzazz to be in there for some reason.
4 P's.
4
Pizzazz
P's,
is the 4th.
actually.
You gotta wow the jury.
That's honestly fair. You do need some pizzazz to win, I would say. Like,
That's a good final pitch. If someone gave that during a final pitch, I'd be like, you're on to something there.
yeah. Take my vote right now. But yeah. All right. I mean, we have so many superlatives. I mean, we could literally spend, I feel like, an entire recap going over it, but we'll, everyone can always go back and watch the episode, but we'll just go over like a couple more. Or I guess I'll just do one more. So
they were tea. They're good superlatives.
There were good superlatives. There's a lot of tea. But yeah, I mean, there's so much here. I'll just name a couple really quickly. Give me your opinion on it. So, riding the most coattails is Gabby. who's calling the shots is Jake. Most likely to be a bitter juror is Kat. And then dark horse to win is Mitch, Kat, and Gabby. Worst chance of winning is Gabby. There's a little contradictory stuff. If the game ended today, who would you vote to win? Kat, Jake, and Jack. I know that was a lot of information, but
Following.
I don't know. Give it all to me.
I have a quick clarification. Are they allowed to vote for themselves?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
I think it's interesting because especially like the contradictory things, but it's so true considering the nature of this game. It's like Gabby might have the worst chance of winning right now at that final 7 point of time, but you know, if Kat goes, if Jake goes, if Jack goes, all of a sudden it's like you all slept on Gabby, and if she gets to that final 3, that final 2, then it's like, you know, she might have a shot. So I think that there is some truth to everything that's being said. Back to the 4 P's, you know, perception. Perception is everything. And clearly I think Gabby's doing something right if she has both the perception of like having the worst chance to win, but also maybe could win, you know?
For sure. I think Gabby's playing a great social game, honestly. Like having those big wins like close to her. I mean, yeah.
She's never been a target of the heroes votes either.
Mhm.
So it's a good place.
Yeah. For sure. But yeah. So of course in the end, after the tiebreaker, we're most deserving to still be there, voted by the pre-jury, was Owen, who was voted out a couple weeks ago. Jake wins and gives the idol clue to Gabby. And then, of course, we saw that Jack threw the challenge. So Jake giving the idol clue to Gabby. So flashbacks for the first episode of the merge. We see Gabby saying that she wants to chop Jake's balls off, but all seems well now with that idol clue being given. But do you think that was a strategic move on Jake's part to maybe kind of spread out his relationships, like something like that, not to put too much of a target on Abby even?
I would say so. And I think it's just smart to spread out advantages in general. You don't really want to, even if they are your ally, you don't want to funnel advantages towards one person. You do want to make sure it's evened out so that you, at the end of the day, can hopefully have a little bit more advantages than everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
In season 2, it was always like we had to give idol clues after we won too, and it was always so hard to decide how to pick because you don't want to continually give the same person clues because then it just like it's like, oh, they're clearly much closer with each other than everyone else. You don't want to give it to someone who's gonna like who you think is your friend and then they're gonna use it against you. Like I did that with Austin. I was like, oh, I'm giving Austin a clue and it's gonna bring us closer, and then he finds it in 0.2 seconds on Club Penguin and doesn't tell me. So it's like I knew exactly where it was in Club Penguin too.
Sometimes Club Penguin be like that. I'm sorry, Mike.
Very risky, Club Penguin.
Is this a place in Syracuse, Club Penguin?
In season 2, we got sent home at final 6, and we had an idol hidden on the Club Penguin Island.
Oh,
like website
okay.
Club Penguin.
Like website Club Penguin.
That makes so much more sense.
I really wish there was a Club Penguin themed bar. I would so go to that.
Oh, same. No, that would be so fun. I think Josh is onto something.
All the drinks should be different puffles. Okay, I'm gonna talk to someone about this idea.
Party at my igloo.
Oh.
That's what the little private tables can be.
Oh, that'd be so fun. That would be really fun. We'll chat after about maybe getting
any investors Shark Tank come my way.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So idols. I'd love to keep talking about Club Penguin, but we must move on to more tea. So starting off with this week, we see Kat and Cam looking for the idol that Jake had already found at Heroi. And it's super weird because no one thinks that Jake has it. Everyone thinks that Jack has it. Like Gabby, as she was saying, like she for sure thinks Jack has it. Like we see her at the beginning saying, if you're looking for the idol for 24 hours and like you don't find it, like what are you doing? And then of course we see it confirmed by the pendulum later. So she for sure thinks it's Jack. But so do a lot of other people. So I guess what does that say to Jake's game that he's able to do all this and no one even thinks twice about him maybe having another idol?
Honestly, I'm just straight up impressed with Jake. Like I really am. Like I remember earlier in the season, like he was in danger a few times and he managed to like really get his footing. And I feel like right now, I feel comfortable saying like unless he loses immunity at the final four, because I fully expect him to be there, or the final three, like whatever happens, like I think he's clear shot of clear winner right now. And that's such a dangerous place to be, like the clear winner of a season. But like he has great social game, I think. He is able to sort of navigate his threat level in a way where it's like no one's actively coming for him. He has some of his information out there. Abby knows a few things, like Jack and him have a relationship, but he also is able to like play people against each other. He made Kat and Mitch turn against each other because they didn't fact check with each other. Like he just like very easily has been just like playing a very masterful game. And I hope for his sake it's not setting him up for a downfall. But I mean, wow, like what a great player, honestly.
Yeah, Jake is
Yeah,
a
the
student of this game in every way. You can just tell in his like textbook strategy, in the way he just like zips through. He plays a very aggressive game, and he said it himself. Like, I can't believe they let me get this far. Like, once they let me get past a certain point, it was game over. So it's a dangerous place to be, but I'm rooting for him.
the playing Cat and Mitch thing was one thing I really like that spoke to me in the episode, because it just showed how much control he has over all sides of the game without people, like everyone trusts him more than they trust other people. He's so well positioned while having that threat level. It's like I've said it's week after week. It's just
That's
this is
it.
Jake's game.
It's
It
masterful
makes
that he has like that much control over everyone's perceptions of his threat too, that they're like, okay, Jake is so much of a threat, he can't possibly have the idol too, like that must be somewhere else, and like Jake would tell me if he is the idol or something. Like it's just crazy.
like actually whack. I don't understand. But yeah, I mean, it just really speaks to his game, I think. But speaking of idols, like we know Abby knows where the idols are. But she says as she's talking to Kat and Cam in the car. And then fun fact that wasn't featured in the episode, but I'll throw it in right now. That was after they were playing tennis with Mitch. So that's that. But um, yeah, Abby's telling Kat and Cam that she has PTSD from season 2 with idols. And Kat says that a good way to solve that problem is to split the votes up and put the votes different places, and that maybe they could do something there. So do you guys think that could have been something good for this week if they were able to get it together to maybe target one of those big threats?
I think had they been able to really solidify a relationship with Mitch and really pull him in, that would have been a masterful move. Or even Kat, like if they were willing to work with Kat, but or Kat's in there. Yeah, Mitch. So if they were able to pull in Mitch and like maybe put two votes, and like I don't know, at 7 it's so risky with splitting votes. I don't know if I would at
Yeah,
7.
I just don't fully understand where the numbers are coming from. Like, I want to get behind on that plan, but I just don't know exactly how they pull it in and pull it off.
It's just Abby's the wrong person for that, because I mean, this is again testament to Jay's game and Abby's game. People clearly don't know that they are each other's number one and they are tighter than anyone else in this game, because they're going. Kat just targeted Jake last week, and now she's going to his number one, saying, I wanna work with you right now." Like I feel like there's better people to go to to try and work with.
I just don't understand how they got away with like hiding their relationship again almost, considering all that drama from the first week of the merge when everyone was like, "Oh my god, like they're like close," like all that stuff. So I don't get it, but kudos to them though for
Jake
that.
giving the idol clues to other people instead of Abby, I guess.
Smoke screen.
Wow. Absolutely cray. Um, but yeah, theoretically, like to get a threat or a non-threat out. Like, did Kat have a chance this week? Because the thing is, and we've seen Kat make this pitch in the episode, Jake and Jack, if Kat goes, there's more of a spotlight on them. And maybe they do need more protection for like at least another week or maybe at least another 2 weeks, whatever. So I guess like who did this move help socially? Who did this move hurt? Getting Kat out. And I guess is there a different move that could have been better for anyone that you could think of?
Hot
I
take,
think.
though.
Oh, I want to hear the hot take.
I think that this was the best move for Abby's game, honestly. But everyone else, it was neutral or bad. But I think Jake and Jack specifically, I don't know if there's a good move for them at this point, considering their threat level. Who's to say Kat wouldn't have tried to take a shot at them if they kept her around? Like, I think at some point when you have the perception of being a threat because you're playing such a good game, you kind of just have to stick to your guns and make the moves that you want to make, and then just kind of like hope that your game carries you through. And Jake has like at least that comfort of knowing he has his idols in his pocket. But when the numbers start dwindling down, it's really like you really just have to hope for the best.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, to use the shield argument at the final 7 is really tricky language because it's kind of like admitting that you're a threat, being like, hey, I could win, but you should keep me around because I'm going to protect you. But then that automatically outlines your game is better than theirs. So it's just a tricky situation to put yourself in, especially post-merge, in my opinion, but in final 7 especially.
Also, like three shields out of 7 people, like... How many shields were going there? I very much
lose at some point. Sorry.
Yeah, I very much agree with what you were saying, Josh, about for Jack and Jake, there might not be a good move for them, and I think it's just who the good moves for them is who isn't going to stick with you the farther down you go, and like having those votes. So when you get to the final 4, you have someone who won't vote you out, so you can at least give yourself a chance. Or when you're at the final 5, you'll have someone who you can trust to like throw a rogue vote or like I don't know, something to prevent an idol being played, because it's so hard for an idol not to be played at 5 because people keep holding them so long.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's that dynamic, and I think it very much hurts Jack more than it hurts Jake, because I think Kat was more of a vote for Jack than for Jake. I think Jake has Abby, Jake has Gabby. Cam can go anywhere, Mitch can go anywhere. I have no clue, but I think definitely hurts Jack more.
Yeah.
Agree.
I think this is just speaking of, I guess, like a bad move for someone or a neutral move for someone. For me, I was thinking it almost teeter-tottered in my head that like for Cam specifically, because Kat was her number 1. Even though it like kind of appears bad, because like, you always want to have someone that you can trust in the game, especially when you get down here until like, if you do have to cut them off or something else. Like it is good to have someone that like you can at least kind of rely on. So in that aspect, I think it's bad. But at this point, going into final 6, this at least gives Cam a little bit more leeway to kind of stand out more and like kind of be able to show a little bit of her game. So I think it was an interesting situation for her. But it could also put a target on her back though. So either way.
I think Kat going was like a neutral good move for Cam, because I think I don't think anyone's really going to be targeting Cam right now. I think all eyes are going to be on Jack. All eyes are going to be on Jake. or maybe someone else. I think Cam, I think right now her mentality, if I were her, would be how can I set myself apart so I can make a case against one of these people? And I think differentiating herself from Kat will help. But considering the perception of her right now isn't the best, I think that yes, it's good for getting to the end. I don't know if it's good for winning Kat leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a good opportunity for Cam to really come out of like, well, I shouldn't say come out of her shell, but kind of play a new game without Kat. Just really differentiate herself. I think I'm just echoing what Josh said at this point.
Yeah, I never thought of it that way because I'm always thinking, oh, like relationship numbers, but this now like Cam has the opportunity to not be Kat and Cam. Same way with Holly and Cass at the start. Like now she has to play without that second person, so now it's really like, okay, now we're watching Cam Chago play. What is Cam Chago gonna do?
Kind of sucks splitting up duos, but then you also kind of get to like take all of the credit for the duo instead of like splitting it. So she can also kind of capitalize on the moves that her and Kat made together and really make it part of her resume now and not really have anyone to contradict that.
Yeah. All tea. Yeah. Yeah, speaking of, I guess, resumes, and just like that type of stuff. Something that I feel like could certainly go on one. Jake is spreading around everyone's business, and he's not getting caught. I think if he were, if he was like, if he were to be, I guess, sitting in the final 2 or 3, like that could be something really good to say. But like, how do you get away with that? How do you get away with that and not get caught?
He's doing it. I don't know. Like,
I have no idea. Is he one of those people that keeps like the notes in his phone that like to keep track of like which things he's told people? I know there's someone in the past that did that.
Oh, I think Paul did that.
That would have been Paul.
I think
But I would not be surprised if Jake had some sort of master Excel spreadsheet somewhere. I don't know how he keeps this straight, quite honestly.
I don't know.
It really is interesting, especially at the final 7. You would think in theory that like everyone's going to be talking to everyone, trying every angle you can. But I still get the vibe from the episode that there are some people that still just aren't that much in contact with each other. So it's interesting that like Jake goes to Kat and is like, you know, you're right. We should keep each other safe because we're both seen as threats. Let's vote out Mitch. And then go to Mitch and be like, Kat threw your name out. Kat wants you gone. And both Kat and Mitch individually are like, yes, we're voting out the other. And it's like, part of me is like, I wonder if Kat and Mitch spoke or like if they were being coy with each other. And I think that's a testament to one, their trust in Jake and his game, but also how important communication is. But I understand playing Survivor, you don't trust anyone. You don't know what you're getting is true or not. So if someone's coming to you and telling you you're in danger, I think you're more prone to just believing that as opposed to being like, let me fact check and see if this is right. So I think Jake just knowing the game is really just capitalizing on the relationships he has with people.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. As long as you tell someone their name is out there, they're going to go into panic mode. They don't always care to go and get the nitty gritty fact checked. They don't really care who brought up your name, but you were involved in a conversation talking about their name, and sometimes that makes you just as guilty in the panic mode.
And I think something that Jake has mentioned about his game in past episodes this season is when he always gives the little truths, like you reveal stuff slowly and as it doesn't matter. So people see that it's true and they trust you and it builds up your credibility. And then when you tell them something, they trust you right off the bat and assume other people are lying. So it's like that strategy of telling those little truths and like revealing stuff to people that it doesn't even matter if they know, like that's, and doing it in a way where it seems like it matters, that it's a skill he has that's just like it's natural, I guess. He's a built Survivor player.
Yeah, for real. Jake, who was it? It was Molly who said that Jake is a student of the game, right? Is that what you said? Okay. Yeah. I mean, I feel like it just comes back over and over again as we talk on recap. But
He's given me podcast recommendations. He's always like, I listen to these strategy podcasts. Like, you should try it sometime. I'm like, okay.
lovely. Oh, Snake. Love it.
And that's what it comes back to. His nickname is literally Snake Neighbor. Like, I think it's hilarious that people time and time again are like, I can trust him. Like, he for sure. Snake Neighbor is the one that is telling me the truth.
For a season where everyone is so focused on everyone's past seasons, like he has been able to metaphor shed his skin super well.
Nice one.
An English teacher would be so proud. I don't even know if it was actually a metaphor. I couldn't remember the word.
You said, wait, no, I feel like.
I think it's a metaphor because a simile uses the word like or as.
Yeah.
Is it an allegory?
Whoa.
I don't even know what that one is.
What is that?
It's like a snake shedding his skin. I don't know.
I trust Josh.
No, I do too.
I think it's an allegory, but you could like phrase it as a metaphor as well.
Okay.
If I'm wrong, comments, let me know.
Yeah,
let us know. Come after our grammar.
Teach us, please. But yeah, honestly, great point. Considering how hyper aware everyone has been on past relationships and past games, how have they not clocked him? I don't understand, but so it goes.
The only one who could clock him at this point is Abby, if she wanted to.
Yeah, and it would be a great move for her, honestly, which leads me, I guess, kind of perfectly into like my next point. We see, like, kind of like we were talking before, we see Abby with Kat and Cam, and like this could be a really great opportunity to add something to Abby's resume, I think, because obviously she's in the know. And with all this information, she has two people who are on the wrong side of the vote who are at this point willing to do anything. So why not take the other person who was on the other side, like on the wrong side of the vote, and maybe like do something really big to add to your resume? Do you guys think that could have been something good for her, or do you think like her under the radar is still good and like staying true to her game is probably like the best way to go?
It's hard to say.
Yeah, with this specific group of people, I think she made the right decision because I think I don't know. I feel like if I were Abby, I'm thinking, all right, let's say I do try and make a move against Jake of some kind, try and flush an idol or try and get him out and make him not play an idol or something like that, go against this alliance we've had. That would be a huge move. But I feel like that threat level would just immediately transfer onto her. She would just take Jake's spot as like, oh, was she the real mastermind? And I think it would just make her a target. Whereas if she sticks with Jake, she is running the risk of going to the end with him, getting far with him and losing. But if she can get to the end without him, then she basically had she had her own personal shield and she had good relationships with everyone. So that under the radar gameplay would, I think, potentially secure her a win, as opposed to Cam, who doesn't necessarily have that shield and is sort of like in free fall right now without Kat.
I think the move could help her if she had a better relationship with Gabby, because I think Gabby is the person for her to make that move with. Mm-hmm. I think Jake is her number one. So if she's going to turn on her number one with a already known duo, she needs someone who's going to stick with her when it comes down to that final four. Right now, her next closest is Jack, and you don't want Jack to be that other person, because he definitely wants Jake out at some point. You don't want to give him that ability and then he just is able to ride. Mm-hmm. I think if she had Gabby, you make that move with Gabby. You and Gabby are tight. Kat and Cam are tight. You don't know if you stick together through 6 and 5 till you get to 4, but I think you're in a more safe position if you make that move then.
Mm-hmm. Fair point.
I'd say it's just too early for Abby to kind of be able, if she were to muster up and get Jake out, then I think, she would probably just be following him right out the door if she did that. at this point, but later in the game could work.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I guess like talking about like trying to get to like the even later stages of the game, just to finish off, just to wrap up talking about all of the pre-vote off tea. Just to bring it up again, Kat's argument for Jake and Jack pretty much. It seems like Jack was definitely more spooked by it. With the argument that Kat made where it's like, "Keep me because I'm another person who can help you get further in the game, like, I'm the other shield, like, if I'm gone, you're more out in the spotlight." Um, so, like, we see kind of, like, the a little bit of the teeter-totter in Jack's head, Jake is, like, head on, like, he wants to get Kat out, so, um, I guess to go back to it, like, I personally think there is some validity to that argument just because, like, you like, when you're a shield, you know that your time is ticking and, like, at least for 1 more week, like, maybe bring, like, 1 more person because that could save you another week. So, that's my opinion, but what do you guys think? Like, who I guess, like, with Jake's thought process and Jack's thought process, I mean, we, of course, see Jack eventually vote for Kat, but he was definitely thinking about it more. Like, whose do you think you follow more?
I understand Kat's argument, but I have to admit, if I were Jake, I'd still want Kat out because I think she's more socially connected than Jack is, and Jack is his other biggest friendly rival slash competition. So I think, you know what? Why risk keeping Kat and taking out someone like Mitch when I know that Kat has Cam and who knows what could happen? What if Gabby flipped? What if Jack starts getting nervous? What if he makes a move? I think getting rid of that duo is more of a logical move than not at that moment. But I understand Kat's argument for sure.
I understand it, but also Jake is top dog, and you can't shield the bigger shield because they're just gonna get hit all around where you're not blocking them. So Jake is always towering over this group, but also subtly somehow still like I don't know. I feel I'm with Jake. Like I wouldn't have folded with Kat's argument. I feel yeah.
Yeah. Y'all
Not
are
unless she voted out Cam.
Yeah.
Fair. Fair enough. But yeah, now we go to the vote. No one is feeling very safe at this point in the game. Jack says, if you're not Jake, who of course won, you do not feel safe. And I guess right before going into this vote, do you guys think that this game has fully shifted from heroes villains? I feel like we haven't really brought that up in a while because there's been a little bit of chaos going on. But at this specific point, do you think it's finally straight away?
I don't think so. Like I said it was I think I don't know if this was last week or the week before. I feel like it was a glorified like they really were like playing up the fact that it was separated from heroes versus villains. And I think that's because the way that the swap tribes went, like the tightest alliances were just made up of heroes and villains, and that Wentworth 4 just shedded 2 villains just to now take out Cat again. And I think those 4 are just so much closer, and I don't see how you worm your way into there until I mean we are getting into it now. Like it is 6, but I like those 4 breaking up. I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just trying to think through the like alliances in my head, and I'm like, I still think they're kind of along tribal lines. So
Yeah. Yeah, so still kind of have that constant heroes villains. We see Kat get voted out. So my last question about this. So what does it mean like for everyone now that Kat's gone? We're at final 6. What is going to happen going forward, in your opinion, because of this?
If I'm Jake, I'm chilling for a little bit, but I know that once my idols are gone and I'm in the final 4, because I'm presuming he'll play them. I think he's too smart not to play them. Hopefully, but I'm thinking like, all right, who do I want to be in the final 4 with me? That's my mindset as Jake, and I think Abby is pretty confident that like she will be in that final 4. If I were Jack, I'd be nervous if I were Jack. I'd be like, I need to win immunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I would say Jack and Mitch, scary. Cam's scary, but she now has the opportunity to make her separate herself from Kat and Cam. And then Jake, Gabby, Abby, I would say good. So 3 bad, 3 good.
Fair enough. Well, we are going to get now the tea from the Ooh, sorry, got an email. We're gonna get tea now from the inside. So it is my pleasure to introduce our 7th place finisher, Kat. Hi, Kat. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Watching these episodes has been, bringing up all the memories again. So, but yeah, I've been enjoying it.
Nice. All right. So now that we have you, give us the scoop on how you were feeling through that week.
I think the second that Jake won immunity, I knew I was done. I needed that so bad. I think you can like see my disappointment like after I lose. And I'm just like, oh my God. I just knew after that disastrous vote with Hannah going home, for me at least, it was pretty much game over because I was like, that was the only chance to, break up that 4 and then try to get Jake out. And yeah, I tried my best. I talked to everybody, but
And on a tiebreaker. Like that's a heartbreaker to lose immunity on, right? You're so close.
I know I like made a comeback too. And then, yeah, Jake got it. So disappointing, but I knew my days were limited because it was just, I don't know, I had like no one else to work with. I think I needed Hannah to stay for me to have a chance to break up that group because it was like impossible to get any information out of them because they were just so tight knit. So it was really tough.
Yeah. Did you feel like you had a shot when you were talking with like Cam and Abby in the car? Like, do you think you had a shot at like cracking Abby possibly during all of that?
I think so because Abby and I had been talking a lot more like as the weeks had gone on. Like we talked about the Owen vote in her car again like a few weeks prior, and so we had been like hanging out outside the game, and so I thought that she would trust me more. I knew her and Jake were close because for that Owen vote, she was like, I'd vote anyone but Jake. And I was like, that's interesting. But yeah, so I thought that she was like willing to, work with me more. I did not talk to Gabby that much at all, like strategy wise. So to me, it made sense to like lean more towards Abby.
Fair. If Jake wasn't immune that week, do you think you would have had a shot at getting him out?
Again, I don't know. It was really hard for me to trust Mitch after the Hannah vote because he just lied straight to my face. So I don't know if he would have like been willing to do something or if Jack would have flipped on Jake at that point. So I don't know. It's hard to say.
Who is to say? Who's to say? You never know. I mean, I guess we won't know, but it's always fun to think if it could have been.
Yeah.
I love theoreticals.
I love theoreticals.
I know it.
Yeah.
I have a question. How was it different playing this time than from your first time? Like you went from playing a Leaf to playing some people. Because you really took you really put your foot on the gas this season. A lot of people were giving you your I don't know what it's called.
Tip of
I'm
the
bad
hat.
for it. Yeah, accolade. Yeah,
Yeah,
Nice.
I mean, I want to try to play as hard as I could this time around. Obviously, I think I did that. Yeah, the first time I played, I had never seen Survivor. Like, I did not understand strategy at all. Like, it's pretty obvious. And then this time, like coming into the season, I had like seen like all the seasons like over quarantine. So I was like very much Survivor like is in my head right now. So I just wanted to like talk to people immediately, like at the start. So just make as many connections as possible to stay as long as I could. So that was that was just
So
the
I'm
goal.
curious, Kat. So do you think that like actually watching the show helped you as a player,
Um,
or just kind of neutral?
yes, I think it was easier for me to like understand how like just like the voting and again like all the strategy that goes behind it and the social connections is so important. And I had seen season 2 had just wrapped up, so like it aired on YouTube. So just watching that, yeah. So I had felt like I had a better sense of what the game was going in.
Fair. I guess like comparing because you were a first when you played in season 1. So like I mean, I'm sure there are definitely two different experiences whether you um had a preference for like one or the other or like if you like really like felt a difference. I guess to like go off of Molly's question like just like did you like feel different playing both seasons and like how do those experiences compare?
Well, starting season 4 was like very intimidating for me, because I didn't last very long on season 1, and I knew a lot of the people coming back had, played with each other or gone like really far. So I had never played with Cam, Jake, or Paul. We were just never on the same tribe in season 1. So I literally had not played with anybody at the beginning of the season. So, um, yeah, just me being a nobody, I think helped me in the long run, and that people weren't like intimidated by like my previous season because I didn't know anything. So
I personally have one last question that I really want to ask. Please tell us how your dream about you making Final Five impacted the way you played your game, or if it impacted it at all, or if it was just like this like looming like thing above your head while you were playing.
I think it was like maybe a week or like a few days before the season started, and I just had this dream that I made it to Final Five. I don't know if I had just like watched season 2 or something, and it was like the finale and like whatever. But I was like, okay, I'm here at Final Five. Like that's just like giving me the good vibes that I need for the season. So I, yeah, I don't know if I lost, that that dream like halfway through the season or whatever. Like it wasn't really at the forefront of my strategy, but yeah, it's just funny. And then I would dream about Survivor every night.
The stress dreams, they stay with you.
Yeah.
Would you dream like about stuff that would potentially go down, or just like dream? Would you stratadream in a way?
I honestly don't even remember. It was just like random stuff happening like with people from the season. Like
Were they so they weren't normally like realistic always?
no, like I had this weird dream that like Jake and I got like married and there was like a challenge and like
Let's see that in the reunion.
yeah, and like
not
sorry,
a dream
but,
anymore.
yeah. So like it was just like really weird. Yeah, like Cam and Austin can attest. I would like text them every day.
About your dreams?
Yeah, I would tell like everybody. So
Obsessed. Did you ever keep
Would
dreaming?
you rather survive or dream about it, or stay up thinking about it all night?
I mean, I did both, but I don't know. Dream, I guess.
When you're dreaming, you're sleeping too, which is also super great.
Yeah.
I love sleep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I guess I always like to ask this for people who come on recap. What's your favorite part about playing Survivor?
I think it was just like the strategy part of it. I'm like very like analytical, so just kind of assessing everybody's position in the game, where I can, you know, sneak my way through, or who I need to keep to better myself in the game. So I think that part was like really fun for me this time. And obviously like making a lot of good friends was an added bonus. So yeah, just like meeting new people, and yeah, my last semester at college, it was a good time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
If you could do anything differently, what would it be?
Oh my god, I've thought about this so many times. I was hoping you would ask me this, Mike. One, I would not share the idol clue with Jack. That was a huge mistake. I know you ripped on me one of the other recap shows. So I wouldn't have done that. Like, he just seemed trustworthy, and I mean, I believed him that he wasn't gonna tell anybody. Like why would you? Because that would be stupid. But Cam and I actually almost like made fake clues that I was gonna give him. But then I was like, okay, that's like too much work. I'm not gonna do that. So I didn't make the fake clues, but giving him the idol clues was dumb because we see Jake find it. I wish like Hannah and I like communicated for her vote, like she was actually gonna vote for Jack or Jake. That was just like a shit show. So if she like ended up telling me that she was gonna vote for Jack, I think I might have switched my vote to vote for him. Like I could have convinced Cam to do it, because like if there was a revote and it was still tied Jack and Hannah, I just don't think Jake would have risked going to Rocks with 2 idols in his pocket. Like, and I would have forced them to go to Rocks because I had immunity, so I would have been safe anyways. So if I forced Jake's hand to vote out Jack, then that could have just been like a huge move for the game, and Hannah would still be in.
What a move it would have been.
That
Wow.
would have been crazy.
Intense.
That would have been very intense. That would be really intense.
That would be perfect, because it'd be Jack versus Hannah. Jake at the chance of losing his 2 idols. You and Cam pull off your plan. Like it would have been so cool to see that.
That would have been pretty cool, but it didn't work out that way.
That's the best answer I've ever gotten to that question.
Really?
Yes, because that just made me so excited. Like thinking that that's a possibility that could have happened. Like,
I mean, yeah, I would have been like, guys, we're going to Rocks. Like, I'm keeping my vote, and then Jake would have been like, well, I have 2 idols, I'm not risking that. So
yeah,
see ya, Jack.
Wow, that went at the Shaw quadrangle. Yeah, that would have been so cool though. That was a great answer.
Thank you.
Of course.
So, yeah. But then for my vote, it was like the night before Tribal. I think Gabby had a vlog about us going to Lucy's, and we went to Luke's house afterward, and I like cornered Jake, and I was just like, please don't vote me out. I was like throwing Mitch under the bus as much as I could. I was like, and I was gonna say anything to stay, and then Jake was like, yep, but yeah, I literally didn't know what else I could have done at that point. It was like, if I can't get Jake out, I might as well work with him.
Fair. Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer, they say.
Yep.
Yeah.
Crazy times.
Crazy times. Does anyone else have any questions?
I think you were Rob. You're great.
Thank you, Josh. I think so too.
I don't know if I told you this, Kat, but you were my winner pick at the start.
Really?
Yes, because I thought you had the perfect amount of people not knowing, but because I watched all your preseason stuff, I knew you watched all the seasons of Survivor. So I was like, you were positioned perfectly to like just fool everyone in the cast.
Yeah. I thought I was doing a good job, but I was getting a little aggressive at the end. But I mean, it was getting boring. Like,
Hey, being tarred as a threat doesn't mean you were doing a bad job at all.
Yeah.
Put that out there. You were playing too good of a game. Just made everyone else nervous because they realized they weren't playing up to your standards.
yeah, it was getting a little boring at the end. So try to go as hard as I could.
Hey, it makes you a Survivor legend.
True.
Thank you.
Very true. Yes, of course. Well, unfortunately, we do have to wrap up soon. But Kat, if you have any last words that you would like to say.
Again, I feel like I'm just gonna repeat what everybody else says when they come on this, but like, if anyone's watching this and want to play Survivor, it's the best time ever, and you'll meet great people and get to have some sort of competition in your life again. So, I live for the drama. But yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It was great to see everybody.
Of course.
You
Of
too,
course. Always a
Thank you for being
pleasure.
here.
All right,
Bye.
Kat. We'll see you later.
See ya.
Lovely. All right. Huh?
What a great gal.
For sure. For sure. All right, so to wrap this episode up so that everyone can get to watching Survivor. Sorry to hold you guys a little bit. But let's just do some really quick superlatives on our own. So I'm just gonna rapid fire 2 really quickly, which I feel like we can answer pretty quickly since we've been talking this entire time. But at this point, final 6, who at this point has the best chance of winning and who is in trouble?
I'm going to say best chance Jake. Second choice would be Abby right now. In trouble, Jack.
I'm going to say Jake in the best, and then I'm going to say Gabby's probably in trouble.
I'll reverse. I'll say Abby has the best shot right now, and then Jake's right below that, just because she's more under the radar right now, and I do think that does play a factor deep in the game. And then in trouble, Jack's coming up on it. If Jake didn't have 2 idols, he would be in a much better spot, but because Jake has 2 idols and he doesn't know, like he's in it's a tough place for him to be.
Yeah.
Because who Jake can strike whenever he wants.
Yeah.
Especially with people thinking Jack has an idol.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very dangerous, I'd say, for Jack with that. But yeah, I agree with you guys. I'd say I was going to basically say, like, interchangeably Jake and Abby, because I think it also depends on perception, and I don't really know how these people would vote. So it'll be interesting to see that. And then in trouble, I would say, yeah, Jack would be in the hot seat. Maybe like a little bit of Gabby, but I don't know. I think Gabby and her social connections can definitely save her for a little bit longer, but she just has to make sure that she locks that down and that she's like under the radar with like her Jack and Jake and like each year, but yeah, and then just to end off this recap, to end it lightly, what is your favorite character moment from the episode?
Consulting the crystals.
Dang it!
Oh,
I
that was
wanted
good
to talk about the
Oh,
pendulum.
we can all have the same one. Don't worry.
We have the same one? Okay.
Yeah.
That was
I can see that
unfortunately mine
production.
too.
I'm going to go with Mitch's cooking show. Very cute, very wholesome.
For sure. Very good
My-
moments, I would
My
say.
favorite part about the crystals, unfortunately it wasn't all showed, but she asked 5 questions and the first 4 were completely correct. So I was like, oh my god, is this like, because what was the first one she asked? And it was like, is the idol
Oh.
fact or something?
Yeah,
and it's
or
like,
someone
yes.
found
And
the
it's like,
idol.
okay, yeah, that was correct.
Yeah,
I
it
like
was
there's a
like
couple-
Damn,
sorry?
editing team did her dirty. The crystal got way more than just 50%.
Sorry.
It was wrong on the one it counted. Unfortunately, I was so excited, and I was really hoping it was gonna say no to Jack having it. And I said, yeah, I was like, damn it. Like it would have just been like, oh my god, it's true. The crystals are true.
Yeah, no, all of them were right. There was one that was like, was I in the right spot for looking at the idol? It said yes, because she was looking around there. Yeah, has the idol been found? And then I think she
Crystal
asked,
just got confused because he has found a idol in the past, right?
Maybe.
true.
Maybe that's like what the crystal was just thinking about. She asked too broad of a question, maybe. It got confused.
Yeah, maybe it just had to be more specific, like,
Does
did
he
Jack
have this
find-
idol?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But yeah. I will say though, I think the pendulum was a success still. Because I think it did give her some good information, but alas. But yeah, so we're gonna wrap up soon. I'm gonna give you each a little screen time. So I will start off with Molly really quickly.
Alright. Thanks for having me. Really enjoying watching this season and rooting for all the final 6. So I'm gonna switch it up from the normal join Survivor Syracuse.
Nice. All right, we'll go with Josh.
Hi, I'm Josh. I'll say join Survivor Syracuse. I didn't think I could do it, and hey, look, I kind of did it, and it was really fun. And I'm rooting for the final 6 as well. I think that it could be anyone's game. I feel like people say that, and it's a buzzword a lot of the times, but I feel like depending on how things shake up, it could be anyone's game.
Heard. All right, Mike.
If you are on Syracuse University campus and you are looking to play Survivor Syracuse, keep your eyes on the lookout. Casting may be coming around pretty soon, so be aware of that. Subscribe to us. Everyone watching right now or watching this after, subscribe to us. Click the bell so you get notifications when we post. And Relay for Life's coming up this week. And so donate to Relay for Life in support of cancer research.
Word. Yes. Basically everything Mike said. Ring that bell, subscribe, Relay for Life. It's all coming up. It's a very exciting time. But yeah, so thank you again to those of you watching live, whether you're watching now or you're watching later. Thank you very much. If you're just watching the episodes, thanks for that too. But yeah, make sure to stay tuned for these last couple of episodes that are going to be rolling out. We've got Final 6 coming up next week, and yeah, it has been a pleasure today. So, all right. Great show. And tune in tomorrow to watch episode 14 of Heroes versus Villains. Crazy.
Bye.
All right. Bye.